Stay with this one pick. No, go. You stay with that. Yes.
Teff is the world's smallest cereal grain. It's an indigenous crop to Ethiopia, and it serves as the country's main ingredient in their staple bread, injera. Recently, Ethiopia's 6 million teff farmers have been struggling to meet the needs of the country's growing population. To counteract this, the ATA, or the Ethiopian Agricultural Transformation Agency, has introduced row planting. Row planting allows for high yields and uses less seed than traditional broadcasting methods. In 2012, ATA partnered with IDEO.org to design a mechanical row planter to help the country's smallholder farmers. Their design is able to dispense both seed and fertilizer 4 rows at a time. This year, the project was transferred to IDEO Chicago, where a team of Northwestern students were able to build on the considerable knowledge base created by IDEO.org.
With the guidance of IDEO designers, we jumped right into the project by starting on the refinements to the existing planter. There were 6 key features that needed to be designed, and for each one we went through multiple iterations. One major challenge of the Ethiopian terrain that was discovered by the IDEO.org team is that the wheels collect a large amount of mud, effectively making the planter impossible to pull.
Wow.
The previous team learned from farmers that burlap does a very good job of shedding the mud and is readily available, so our team redesigned the wheels to hold the strips of burlap. To simulate how the new wheels would behave in an Ethiopian vertisol, we built a test bed here in Chicago. We were able to see that we were on the right track, but we still needed to test the wheels in real conditions with farmers on actual Ethiopian soil. So we packed our bags with parts, tools, and everything else that we would need to retrofit the rest of the planters and headed to Ethiopia.
The first goal of the 3-week trip was to observe the planter in its true environment to learn how we might improve its mechanics and usability. Initially, we felt a little limited creatively. We were used to prototyping in a shop with saws, mills, 3D printers, and all of that.
Obviously it's hard to do it like this.
So when the burlap didn't shed the mud as well as we had hoped in very muddy conditions, we freaked out a little bit.
Match the speed, but
with IDEO veterans at our side, we stayed up late brainstorming solutions. The next day, we found materials in local markets and a crude shop that we could use. Eventually, we were able to successfully test a prototype of a mud scraper.
Let's take one more pass here, but it's looking promising. So,
as we spent more time with farmers, we came to appreciate the fact that they can't afford a complex machine and don't have the experience to maintain one. So with just a stick, some zip ties, and duct tape, we realized that the handlebar itself could just act as a natural mud scraper, giving us a simple feature for essentially no added cost.
Sliced right up. We traveled to multiple regions in Ethiopia during this prime rainy season to plant teff in controlled governmental plots. The main goal was to compare the physical performance of the planter and also the yield against these other traditional methods. So at each location, we demonstrated how to use the planter to regional officials. These regional officials are our connections between the ATA and the farmers, so it's very important to get their opinions and buy-in. We also drove out to the farmers' fields, and then we asked them to interact with the planter in context. Overall, we got really positive feedbacks. They liked that they could row plant faster with less manpower while also expecting higher yield. These interviews and observation really helped us envision how the planter would fit into their lives.
In the field, we saw which aspects were most important to design around. We learned that while it might not be perfect from an agri-science perspective, we must make the planter cheap, light, simple, and robust, also keeping design for manufacturing in mind. When we're working in the studio, we can sometimes follow through with designs that are unfit for the actual environment. Testing the planter in the field refocuses our goals around what is realistic, and it aligns our future design to something that will serve those using it. Ultimately, this is a device that is meant to make the lives of farmers easier and more productive. We're excited to have this opportunity to design a device that could impact the lives of millions of Ethiopians.